Yo, what's going on, boys? Charner here with another video, and in this video I'm going to go over my journey through everything so far, my entrepreneurial journey through trading, business, and everything. And the whole point of this video is to give you guys a view, just coming from me, being pure honest, of how long this stuff takes, and the stuff I did right, the stuff I did wrong, looking back, and to hopefully give you guys some outlook and to understand how much this stuff takes to figure out and stuff like that, and how much time it takes and how much stuff you really do have to sacrifice and stuff like that. And hopefully I'm able to give you guys an outlook and be like, oh, okay, that's a good idea, I could do that, okay, and give you guys an outlook on how long it takes, like genuinely how long it takes. A lot of people have such a short time horizon. You need to realize this shit takes time. So that's pretty much it. That's genuinely it. Okay, so where do I start at? Right now I'm 19. Okay, and I've started trading when I was 15. Okay, I started trading about when I was 15. By all means, I was just getting on a trading view chart, and I was just kind of figuring out the system, like the actual the website. Like I didn't even know how to work the website, So that's what was going on at 15, okay? Don't think I was sitting there trading evaluations at 15 years old. By all means, I was not, okay? So at 15, that's all I was doing, okay? And when I got 16 years old, I was still in high school, right? I had a job, and that's another thing. A lot of you guys getting into trading, you think yeah, I don't want a job, this and that, bro, get a job. I'm telling you, get a job. Having consistent money coming in, bro, it's it takes so much stress off your shoulders, and that's what you need, because you need to overall you need to sacrifice money, and you need to sacrifice money to become good at trading and to buy accounts and stuff like that, and to invest in mentors. Don't be egotistical on the mentor side either. I'll get into that in a second, but you need a job. Okay, that's the first thing. Get a job. Okay, that's what I did, and that helped me a lot. So get a job. And at that point in time, I had a job. I was in high school. Full days in high school, so I wasn't getting home from school till 3 p.m. And then I'd have a job until 8 p.m. So at that point in time, during that job, I would bring my laptop and I would just watch trading YouTube videos. Now, again, I was a 16-year-old kid, bro. I wasn't locked in 100%. I was 16 years old, and I remember I was getting my driver's license and stuff that year. And at that point in time, I was super excited about that type of stuff. And you're a 16-year-old kid. You're not focused on, getting rich and all this stuff on trading. Yeah, that was my focus. That's what I wanted to do. But it was not you genuinely just didn't have the time to be doing all of that. Okay, and that's what I was doing when I was 16. So throughout 16, that's mostly all I was doing, was researching as much as I could, watching trading stuff. And at that point in time, I was investing into companies, but nothing was genuinely working too much. And the whole trading side of things, this is before I got into Forex and futures. I was trading stocks, okay? And I would day trade in school. I would be in school, and I would either make, $50-$60 that day, or I'd be losing $50-$60, sometimes $100 that day, and stuff like that. And I only had an account of a couple $100. That's all I had, was an account of a couple $100. Check out this Ferrari, guys. I don't know if you guys can see it. Oh, shit. But anyways, I had an account of a couple $100, okay? I had an account of a couple $100, and I would either make money that day or, lose some money that day. And that's realistically all I was doing. And at that point in time, I made my first kind of semi-good play. I believe it was in December. When I was 16, it was I invested into an AI company called SoundHound AI, and then while I was invested into them, I saw really good technology. I thought their technology was really, really cool at the time. Pretty much all it is AI. When you guys go through drive-thrus and you get the AI voice recordings and they talk to you, and when you call a company and it's AI and stuff like that, that's all off of that company. That's what they were building, and they signed a deal with NVIDIA at that point in time, and I ended up making $2,000 or $3,000 off of that play. So I believe everyone should will have that type of formation where something pops up like that, right? Where they're able to make some money through the market while also not being consistent by any means, right? That was just a company I had money in because I saw potential there, and it ended up playing out, right? But what that did, way more than the money could even do at that point in time, was purely give me an awakened call of like, okay, this shit's possible. Like, this shit is possible. I was investing into this company, and I saw it on my screen, the numbers go up, and I was able to make thousands of dollars. Like, what the fuck? Like, genuinely, what the fuck? I didn't even do anything. Like, I didn't, work. I didn't have to clock into my job and put in hours and hours and hours on end. I made this all online. So what that does is it gives you an awakening. It genuinely gives you an awakening of like, okay, this shit is possible. And that's what you need, bro. Like, you genuinely need something like that. Whether that's through someone else or just, I do truly think that you need that in your own life. You need one of those awakening signs of like, this shit's possible. Whether that's a payout from a prop firm, whether that's making money on a stock, making money through options, anything like that. You need that type of thing, because what that does is it puts it into your brain of like, this shit is actually possible. So that was when I was December of when I was 16, okay, and I turned 17 in May. And during that time period, again, still very kind of inconsistent. I was investing into companies and stuff like that, but I wasn't like full on day trading with strategy, with like Forex and futures or anything like that at that point in time. Okay, I was still, like learning my stuff. So at that point in time, I was like, okay, I'm 17 now. That year was just pretty much the same thing, guys. It was watch videos and trade. And when I was 17, that is when I first, I believe, it was in August when I was 17 years old. That's when I first started using prop firms. Okay, I bought my first prop firm account. I was only 17 years old, and I actually split it with a buddy because, I wasn't even 18 years old. So I split it with a buddy that was 18 years old. He had really no clue how to trade. I had slightly more experience than him, but looking back, I had no clue what I was doing. Okay, and that's when I was full on taking signals from a mentor at that point in time. And I was like, okay, if I can just take signals from a mentor, then technically this mentor is profitable. So technically, if he's profitable and I'm just following the same trades that he's taking, then statistically speaking, theoretically speaking, I should be profitable, right? And I think that's, everyone kind of has that click in their brain of like, okay, like, yeah, why don't people do this? But you realize you don't learn trading by yourself at all. And you realize you'll never be able to match those trades perfectly, ever. Because the mentor, has his rules, and sometimes he's taking trades off intuition, or if he's not taking trades off intuition, you don't understand that because you're not trading, you're just following his signals, so you don't really get any full picture at all on anything. So don't do that at all. That is a second lesson hopefully I can give you guys. Don't be taking mentors. Don't be taking signals from any mentors in the space at all. Figure out trading on your own. Mentors are great to learn trading and stuff like that, but as far as actually taking signals, don't do that. Okay, and that's what I was doing when I was 17, August, when I was 17. Okay, that's what I was doing. All throughout November, December, I had my trading logs. I believe they were somewhere on YouTube, I think in one video, or in my Discord. I went over them. Long story short, I was trading the strategy that I'm trading now at that point in time when I was 17, okay? I remember August I started, and RD Concepts, that is who initially made LSD, as we know, liquidity, supply, and demand. That's who kind of came up with that entry model, right? So at that point in time, that's when I was trading that, okay? And I was fully trading that entry model, and it took a while. I didn't see any consistency at all, and it was very hard because a lot of people in the community wasn't seeing any consistency at all, okay? Now, I'm not going to go into too much in the trading side of things. I'm just kind of going over my, story. And throughout that point in time, I was heavily into crypto, and this is another canon event that kind of happened for me. Throughout when I was 17, I've invested a lot of money into crypto, and when I was 17, I watched my portfolio go up to about $30,000 at 17, okay? And what that did was, again, give you that awakening call of like, this shit's possible, but I already had that previously. Okay, God put me through another lesson at this point in time. He put me through the lesson of not being greedy. Because I hadn't heard in a horizon that, you know, this $30,000 was going to go and hit 100K. You know, and at that point in time, it didn't even seem crazy. It was, you know, just crypto having the coin I was invested in having to go get a new all-time high, which wasn't asking for like some crazy amount, right? At that point in time, I thought that was 100% valid. But what you don't realize is, you know, the money aspect of it, and things don't play out perfectly as you want them to. Okay, that's why, like, you know, you can't be greedy by any means. So I had, I'm not too sure exactly how much I had invested. I want to say about $7,000, $8,000. And at that point in time, I ran it to $30,000, but I wanted $100,000. I wanted 100K. I wanted 100K at 17. And what happened was it hit about 30K, and it continuously kept falling. And this wasn't something that fell, you know, in a week or anything like that. This took a lot of time, and it slowly, you know, climbed down. And at this point in time, my $30,000 was now worth about $7,000. So about the same amount of money that I've originally invested. I probably invested maybe a little over $7,000, maybe like $9,000. Okay, so if anything, I lost some money. And this was just November of last year of when I actually exited out of my crypto, okay? But at that point in time, when I was 17, that is when I saw the peak of my portfolio. So at this point in time, God already taught me the lesson of like, okay, this shit's possible. I seen money hit my account with, you know, that AI stock. Second lesson was, okay, God's teaching me that there's real fucking money and you can't be greedy. You can't be greedy, and things aren't always going to go as they plan, right? Like, I thought that, hey, it was going to hit, you know, this price target, and I thought, you know, okay, I'm going to make 100K here, you know, and that'll set me up, this and that. I thought all these things, and it's going to show that, hey, you know, you have to just accept God's timing and accept what God is going to give you, okay? And don't be greedy. Those are the lessons I had to take away from that, was things aren't going to go 100% to plan. You can be wrong, and you can't be greedy. Okay, so like I'll always sit here and be like, yeah, I could have made $30,000 at 17, but I didn't, you know? And would that have been a great thing for me to do looking back on it? No. I'm so fucking thankful I didn't make that money. Because if I did, then I would think all of this money to make through crypto would be so fucking easy. And guess what I would do then? I would take that $30,000 and go right into another cryptocurrency and be like, oh, well, if I did that last time, I can do it right again. And I would take that $30,000 and probably go and fucking lose it. And when you lose that, then you're in a horrible mental state. So God is genuinely sitting out here saving you, teaching you lessons without absolutely crushing you. And if you learn them the first time and you're not an arrogant dickhead, and you can sit there and learn them the first time, God's not going to have to put you through them multiple times over and over and over again until you actually crash out and until you're actually losing your shit. Whereas if you just accept the lesson the first time, you know, you're not going to have to actually fully go through that pain. So after that, again, I sold that in November of last year. But regardless, I'm still, at this point in time, I'm still 17. And that's when I saw that portfolio hit that point. It was $30,000. So after that, it was, you know, kind of felt, you know, on top of the world at that point in time. You have a portfolio of, you know, $30,000 at 17. And I watched that shit go right back down. And like I said, thankful for the lessons of it. I gave you guys the full rundown already, but super thankful for the lessons of it. So at this point in time, I'm 17 years old, and like I said, in August, I was learning my strategy that I'm trading now. I was learning my strategy, and I was trading it, right? And I was splitting an account with someone else, one of my buddies that wasn't really into trading at that point in time, but again, he was 18, so we were able to split an account with a prop firm. And essentially what I was doing was, you know, I was placing the trade on, you know, my account or his like phone. We were both signed in, and pretty much it was just because I wasn't 18. So ran that from August through about May. Okay, so this would have been 2024, I believe. Ran this throughout August of 2024 to May of 2025. Okay, And at this point in time, May of 2025, again, still heavily trading. And before that, guys, before August when I was 17, before that I was trading different strategies. I was trying different strategies, but I couldn't find any consistency, and they personally just wasn't working for me at all. So eventually I switched over to RD. And I was trading his strategy. So fast forward August to May of 2025 now, I turned 18, okay? At this point in time, I noticed something. At this point in time, I was opening a business, okay? During 2024, when I was 17, one thing I forgot to go over was we wanted some extra cash, me and my buddy that we were doing this trading thing with, wanted some extra cash, and we were like, hey, why don't we start a detailing company, right? We always see these on Instagram that, like, you know, these people do mobile detailing, and they go around and, like, they, you know, detail, right? They detail cars, and, you know, it seems like they make a lot of money, so why don't we just kind of start one? There's not a mobile detailing company in our area. They're all, like, shop based, so why don't we do that? Okay, bet. So we did that, and at that point in time, again, learning new lessons. Before that, actually, I keep forgetting things as I go back. Before that, when I was really, 15, 16, starting the whole entrepreneurial thing, I tried drop shipping a lot of drop shipping. And I had one thing that we sold a couple products. They're actually hangover strips. They're like, not vitamins, but they were off of like a vitamin type of website that we drop shipped. I did my own packaging and stuff like that. They're called Recoup Remedy, and it's pretty much to recoup yourself after a hangover. And you take them in the morning after a long night out. And we sold a couple of those, but I did that kind of myself, and things never really just kind of ended up working out, of course, and I failed with drop shipping multiple times. But where I'm getting with this is that I learned how to run Facebook ads during that point in time. So when I was 17 and we started doing a detailing company, I knew how to run Facebook ads. So I took that skill set that God has taught me before and failed me through. He gave me lessons on how to run ads. So I took those ads and I was able to run them when I was 17. Now I made we made a couple appointments throughout 2024 when I was 17 years old. Nothing crazy, really. All that money just kind of got reinvested. And we started selling t-shirts and stuff like that to raise money so then we could invest into our own equipment. And at this point in time, I was going through a weird phase where it was like, okay, I'm trading, I'm investing, I also have a job, I'm in school, and I also have a business now. And at that point in time, it really hits you of like, okay, I got all this shit going on. Like, you feel like a grown man already, and you're only 17 years old, and it's like, you got all this shit going on. You can't be wasting time. Like, I got to keep working with this. And that's when it really kind of hit me. So at that point in time, we were selling shirts to raise money for it. And, thankfully, a lot of people I went to high school with and stuff like that, they were, buying shirts, supporting us, stuff like that. And all that money got reinvested into actual, equipment for us. So fast forward, now I'm 18 years old. That's essentially what we're doing. All throughout 16, 17, and 15, I was trying drop shipping and stuff like that. Wasn't working. Was able to run Facebook ads when I was 17. Switched strategies heavily when I was 17. Completely threw everything else out the window. And I was learning LSD, as we know it, the strategy I trade now, when I was 17 in August. So when I was going into 18, I realized something. I realized, okay, first of all, a couple things. Trading requires a lot of money. Okay, if I want to invest, and I knew I had the investing skill set because I learned very big lessons with crypto, but I was also invested into stocks, and I made money with AI before, and I knew it was possible. It gave me that eye-opener of, okay, this is possible, but I just, I can't be greedy also because I learned my crypto lesson. So I took both of those lessons hand in hand. I was able to, work with that. So when I was 18, we still had the detailing company, and I realized a couple things. First of all, as much as I didn't want to take a break from trading, I realized something. I realized that trading is going to require a shit ton of money, okay? If I want to fast track and learn this, if I want to invest into mentors, if I want to buy actual funded accounts that mean something. And in my mind, it was not worth it for me. And I don't mean this, to be egotistical or anything, but in my mind, it's not worth it for me to buy a $10K and work really hard to pass it, and you finally pass it. And now you're only risking $100 per trade, and if you hit a 1 to 4, you're only making $400. It's not worth it in my mind. It's worth it to be buying 100K or 200K, and now when you just hit a simple 1 to 4, you can make $4,000 fucking dollars. And that $4,000, you can go take a trip somewhere. You can go do all of this shit, and it's actually worth it. So in my mind, I understood that, okay, I need to mentor up, and I need to have money for these accounts. I need to have lots of money for these accounts. So what did I do? I took a break from trading, and I was like, okay, I understand that I need to make a lot of money with elsewhere to then apply it to trading. So at that point in time, I went really, really heavy into our detailing company, okay? And I went really, really heavy into it. I took all of my lessons that I've learned previously with Facebook ads. I took all of those lessons, and I dumped them into all the skill sets I knew, and ran Facebook ads heavy, called a lot of companies, was even paying some people to call companies for me. And it was like, okay, I'm taking a break from trading for these 2 months. I need to build consistent income within my trading. Okay, and at this point in time, I was going in my senior year of high school, and what I did was actually, when I was 17, turning 18 in May, that was my senior year of high school. There's a thing that, I don't know if it's like this in other countries, but in the United States, if you're not really going to college or anything, you can pretty much get on work release, it's called, and it's pretty much like you just go to school for half the day, and you leave and go and work. Now, I wasn't essentially fully working. I was going home and focusing on my business. So at that point in time, again, when I was at that 17-year-old state, I fully made the switch of look, I like this trading stuff. I've seen the money that you can make. I see other people doing it, so I know it's possible. College just isn't for me. You only get one life of God's as God's children on this earth, bro. And it's not worth it to be sitting in a 9 to 5 working your entire life at all. It's not worth it. So I made that decision of yeah, college is not for me. So I pretty much signed those papers, and I was only going to school for half a day, only until 11 a.m. my senior year, and I was coming home focusing on my business. So at that point in time, I understood that, again, I need money for trading. So I took a break from trading. And I focused on my business heavy for a solid 2 months, as much as I could. And I remember it specifically. It was February to May-ish of 2025. And I focused on my business heavily. And I was working on it every single day to perfect everything, perfecting the website, perfecting our social medias, perfecting our clothing line. We had chemicals. We would sell all this stuff. And we kept calling, and eventually we land a massive client. With a dealership, a used dealership that constantly needed cars cleaned every time they came in. So, again, that is what landed us a lot of money. And during that time, we started working with them, and I started realizing that, okay, there's actually consistent money to be made here. We have lots of money flowing in, more money than what I expected. And at that point in time, I quit my job that I was working throughout high school to fully work on my business. And it's crazy. God will teach you so many lessons, even on the business side as well. I hired employees, multiple employees. We had just so many things that you just test and figure out what you like and what you don't like. And what we eventually figured out is just the business was best run by just me and my partner. That was it. That's all we wanted, bro. And you try to get employees, and it's okay, well, then they don't know how to do it as good as you, and then they're a little bit slower, and then you have to make sure you're hiring the right people, this and that. And God will teach you those lessons along the way. And learned all those lessons and realized, okay, it's better just, me and my partner. So at that point in time, that was when I was taking my break from February to May to just work on my business. And eventually detailing, started having cash flowing in. And at that point in time, I, successfully did what I wanted to do, which was understand that I want to trade but to trade, I need lots of money, okay? And you can't rely purely on trading for income. So I took that break to build another source of income, and I finally got that other source of income, and I finally was able to, start making money. And after I started making consistent money, and I learned a lot of lessons on the business side of things as well, starting an LLC and taxes and stuff like that. You learn that type of stuff, and I can now bring it over into trading. And if I want to open an LLC for trading or any other business, I know how to do that stuff. So God will, again, keep teaching you lessons as you go throughout stuff. But at that point in time, when I was in May, I turned 18, and I was like, okay, I successfully did what I wanted to do. I wanted to take that break to actually have money coming in. Now we have money coming in. I'm quitting my job. It's, I'm graduating this month. It's all or nothing now. I got this business with money flowing in, which is good and all. We're going to keep obviously working on expanding the business, but now my attention has to go into trading now, because this is what I want. So the break type of thing worked, and it ended up paying off. We landed, again, a big client, quit my job, and I was officially trading and focusing on my business full time. And I also had, again, as I talk, I forget about things back then. But when I was 15, I had a little lawn care company. I was knocking on people's doors to cut grass. And I guess that's kind of where it all stemmed from. And at that point in time, I still had those yards, and I was still expanding those. At one point in time, I think I had a total of 14 or 15 lawns that I would cut every single week. And that was bringing in extra cash that I could apply towards a mentor. I could apply towards funded accounts to learn lessons faster. I could apply to, TradingView subscriptions so I can go back and back test. Stuff like that, bro. So again, I was doing that. I had my detailing company. I was trading full time. And at this point in time, this was May of 2025. Since May on, every single month was work on trading head to toe, middle of the day, go work on, detailing vehicles, doing, work for the company. When I'm done with that, trading, back testing as soon as I get home. And since May till now, which is June of 2026, it's been over a year, that is all I've been doing every single day. So when you line up the actual time I've been head to toe trading, it's rough to say, because it was very I wouldn't say on and off, but you also can't expect a 16-year-old kid to be locked in every single day trading. It's just not realistic, You're a 16-year-old kid, your mind's still developing. But it's hard to say, like I said. But since May, and when I was 17, I would say that's when I was very consistently doing it. And now I'm here. And the journey has been from May on blowing accounts until November and December. I realized something has to quit. And this is November and December of 2025, by the way, guys. This is just this was just 7 months ago. I realized something has to change. So I sat down and I was like, okay, what has to change? Well, I keep blowing accounts. My mentor is kind of shit right now, and I need to invest into more context. I need to invest into how to learn more context behind my trades. So that's essentially all I did. I learned more context behind my trades, and I mentored up. I mentored up into good mentors that actually understood what they were doing. And I learned market context, and I applied that to my entry model. And when I did that, throughout November and December, I was still trading my normal way, and then I was trading. I also had these concepts I was learning on the back end. And while I was doing that, I again was learning those, and I was like, okay, things are going good. I'm learning these concepts. These concepts are actually fixing my issue. All right, boys, my camera overheated, but what I was saying was my issue was over trading and taking unnecessary losses. I was taking losses that necessarily I did not have to take at all. Okay, that was my issue. So what I did was, again, I invested into a mentor that was teaching me actual market context, so I didn't have to do those types of things. Okay, and that helped me out a lot. So after doing that, throughout November and December, I was noticing that I was, again, improving. I was cutting out my losses. That's essentially what I was doing. I was cutting out my losses, and I wasn't taking so many unnecessary losses at that point in time. So November and December, when I was learning that, I was like, okay, I have to apply it. In January, I was perfecting it as much as I possibly could, using it live markets, but also just trading my normal way, because I wasn't necessarily changing my whole way of trading yet, okay? I was still perfecting my stuff. And at that point in time, I was like, okay, this stuff works. I'm having an edge. I'm clearly seeing that trading this way is performing way better than trading this way. So at that whole entire time, I was just blowing fundeds. And again, you're not able to invest in a mentor or invest into fundeds and learn those types of lessons if you don't have money flowing in and you don't have the ability to do that. That's why I always say, get a job, start a business, do something outside of trading, because if you just trade, it's going to be so hard. It's going to be so unnecessarily hard. It does not need to be that hard. So get sources of income outside of trading, okay? That's what you need to do. And when you do that, it's going to give you a lot less stress, because yes, blowing funded suck, but when you have the money flowing in, it's not really stressed too much about it. It's more or less, okay, yeah, it sucks, but like at the same time, it's fine. I'm not stressing about money. I'm not in a very poor state or anything like that. So invest into actually making a source of income outside of trading. That's the biggest thing. So during January, I applied those concepts. And again, November, December, January, trading was right on the edge, bro. So at this point in time, I was like right on the cusp of figuring out, I was right on the cusp of finding profitability, okay? So again, I just needed to change that one thing, and my one issue was over trading, and I felt as if I was taking unnecessary losses. I felt as if my entry model was very vague, and I needed to understand more about the market, because there was just trades that I was starting to build intuition already, where I was like, I want to skip this trade. I know it's a bad trade, but my mentor was saying my mentor at this point in time was saying if the rules align, take the trade. And it just felt as if there was something I was missing. And that's when I was like, okay, you need to understand your mentor as well. You need to understand that a lot of these guys don't really, understand what's going on to the fullest at all. And I realized that. And so I was like, okay, there's better mentors out here. So I took my money and I invested into a better mentor that taught me market context. And he's taught me market context, and I was able to apply that market context into my trading. And that is when I saw great consistency. And again, I was applying that throughout November, December, and January, just separately. And my last week of January, I'll never forget, that is when I've officially moved all over. And I was like, okay, I'm applying these concepts fully. I've tested them for the last 3 months. I'm applying all these concepts fully. I've had years tested with these concepts. And all it essentially was I was trading my same old entry model. I was just adding more context to it. I was making sure my trades were in trend. I was making sure there wasn't liquidity, for example, below my demand zone that we were chasing deeper down to. That was my issue. That was genuinely my issue. So I fixed that due to, again, mentoring up. You have to mentor up in this space. Not mentoring up is just being straight up egotistical, and you're going to waste so much time. Mentor up with the people that have literally been through it, because they will straight up help you head to toe, and you're going to get all the information you need so much quicker. You're going to get the information in a month compared to what it would take you to learn it in 2 years by yourself. And thankfully I did that. And again, I applied it, and that kind of sewed my trading together, which was fixing the over trading and fixing the lack of market context. And when I sewed that together, I was able to, again, find consistency. And from last week of January, that's when I started doing that. And we went through January. Last week of January, profitable. February, break even. And I'll never forget it. February was a month, and 2026 has been weird trading as a whole with the Iran war. But 2026 was when, with my normal LSD, was so unprofitable. It was so bad. And LSD, guys, just means liquidity, supply, and demand, okay? That was my entry model, for example. And I'll never forget, February would be a very, very, unprofitable month. And using the concepts that I learned from mentoring up and trading for so long, I was able to skip every single loss. And I will never forget that month. So that was a great month. March profitable, April profitable, and it's just so on. And now we're here, and it's just like, okay, I'm finally starting to see consistency in my trading. I'm more confident than ever. And the stuff I have using, I have it back tested for years on end. I trade in the 5-minute time frame. Every single pair I trade, it's years on end of data. I have it, for 4 years in the 5-minute time frame. And that's the day trading side of it, and the investing side of it as well. Again, I told you guys I learned the skill set of investing and kind of trading stocks as well. It's two separate things than, day trading Forex and futures. On that side of things, I've took my crypto money and I understood that, okay, I took the lesson that I learned and I understood that I need to invest into an area where money's flowing into. Where's the next sector that money's flowing into? And I knew the next sector was AI. AI was the next sector. So I took that money and I invested it into an AI company that I felt as if very undervalued. And I took my lessons from last time and I understood, okay, I understand now how to kind of look for a great undervalued company like SoundHound AI when I first made my money when I was like 16, 17. And I understand now not to be greedy. So I had pinpointed lines of exactly where to sell the stock at exactly what I wanted to see. And I invested into that company. And it was very undervalued. Earnings came out, and money started flowing into it. And at that point in time, I made personally $8,000 off of that play. And I had my exact levels that I wanted to get hit, and they got hit, and I sold. I got out. I wasn't doing no crypto play. I wasn't, gambling, and trying to, make $100K off of that play. And it's great when God gives you lessons, because then you're able to capitalize on it later and be thankful. Because again, if I didn't listen to God's lessons, I could have held that stock, bro. And then, I could hold it for another 6 months and it can go back down to zero and I could lose all of it again. And God will keep showing you the lessons until you fix them. And that's why if you're very objective and you pay attention to what God is showing you, you can learn those lessons a lot of times on the first try. Big lessons, right? Big lessons like that where you run from $30,000 down to pretty much $7,000. And you can take those big lessons and learn from it. Now again, trading is different. Trading, you can, keep making the same mistakes over and over and over again because they're not as big and they're not as powerful. So God will run those through you a lot more times, right? He'll make sure, you'll be over trading so many times until you're finally sick of it. So all of it's just lessons, bro. And on the investing side, I've made money there, and that's where I've made, the majority of all of my money so far. The Forex and day trading, stuff like that. I did forget to mention, I have passed $200K in funding. So I've fully funded $200,000 with Alpha Capital Group. And from there, now we're just working on a payout. And I need 5 trading days to get a payout. And conditions have been a little bit slow on my end, so I haven't gotten there. But I know it's just a matter of time. Because again, God has taught me all the lessons, and I've taken all the lessons and learning them as best I can. And everything's back tested. And in the meantime, I'm just using my other skill set that I built with trading and investing into stocks. And that's where I've made, the majority of my money. That's what literally paid for me being here in Florida. And I'm 19, just chilling here in Florida. And it's sick because it's all online money, bro. Like, all this shit's fucking possible. And I'm not saying, like, I'm anywhere crazy by any means, bro. Like, all I'm saying is, bro, it's different when you make your own money online and you just are able to take that out as cash and go and do something, bro. Like, genuinely just go and fucking do something, bro. It's so nice. It makes it so nice, guys. And it's all so fucking possible. So, on the trading investing side, I've made money on multiple AI companies. And I'm still invested into AI as a whole. But I've made my money on some, smaller cap AI companies. So I'm now into some, big software companies, Microsoft and stuff like that for the long term, right? For the next year, 2 years. So that's just kind of where the majority of my money is. And right now I still have my company, my detailing company. We're focused, obviously working on that. And made some money through investing in stocks and stuff like that. And as far as the day trading Forex and futures, I'm teaching a lot of other people what I found out along my journey, what I've learned from mentors in the space that are not so good, mentors in the space that are really good but trade different strategies, piece things together. And what has found me consistency, going from, all red months to consistent green months, and getting funded and stuff like that. I'm just teaching other people of, I have, a Discord community. Here's what I know. And, we're all still moving as a group in that as well. So that's pretty much, guys, my whole entire journey from head to toe. Back, when I was younger, starting from cutting grass and drop shipping to here to owning a detailing company, making thousands through stocks, but still having that day trading and stuff like that we are $200K funded on, and we're just pushing through that payout. And, it'll come at some point in time, right? Again, we're on God's timing. So this can take the next 2 or 3 months, or this can happen in 2 weeks. I don't care, we're all on God's timing here. So I just understand that, if I keep doing the right actions every single day and I keep praying to God, then it'll happen. It's just a matter of time. It's genuinely just a matter of time, boys. That's it. So that's all I wanted to give you guys, is genuinely, where we're at. And hopefully me doing that can give you guys some insight of, I think a lot of people are trading and they're 2 months in and they think it's okay, why isn't this worked out yet? I just gave you guys a full rundown from when I was 16 years old. And again, by no means when I was 16, I was sitting there head to toe every single day, back testing it, and I know what I know now. Not at all. Okay, I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is this shit takes time. It takes time, and you need another source of income. Please take it from me, bro. Please, please, please go get another source of income. I know no one wants to work a job, and if you don't, try starting a business, bro. Whether that's a lawn care business. Lawn care, literally, bro, don't hate on that shit, bro. That shit literally makes so much nice extra cash that you can take every single week and go invest into a mentor or go and buy funded accounts. You can do so much of that shit. Okay? Go start a detailing company like me, bro. Go do that shit. Okay? Go do stuff that's going to give cash flow instantly. Okay? If you don't want to work a job. And a lot of that shit is going to make more than a job, bro. Me cutting grass, genuinely, me cutting grass was making more than a job. Literally, if I was working a job every single day, it was making more of me just taking a push mower at 15 years old, going in and cutting people's lawns. Think of how, kind of crazy that is. Dude, you can make stupid cash in just, simple ways like that. And that cash is what's going to allow you to invest it into trading, and you're not going to fucking stress. When you're not stressed about, trying to hold on to a funded account as long as you can and shit like that, you're going to progress so much faster, because that's the whole point of trading, is not to be so attached to the outcome and so attached to the fucking, instant money, or so attached to the fucking outcome, within the next month, or so attached to that funded account. That's the whole point of it. That's the only reason people was able to make money, is because they're not attached to that fucking money. They just use their skill set and they build it over time, and they just do the same habits every single day. When you have an outside source of income, it makes that so much easier. So that's pretty much it, boys. That is it. Okay, and I didn't ever make a video, I don't think, like this, of explaining my entire journey so far. And that's pretty much it. That's it, head to toe. And I didn't really go into crazy detail into anything, but I feel detailed enough to understand and give you guys the real reflection of I'm not perfect yet. Have I made money? Yes. If I, made some money in business? Yes. But am I still improving? Do I still have stuff to improve on? Yes, bro. Yes, and yes. It's literally, there's always stuff to improve on, and I'm not perfect at all, but I want to give you guys the real fucking breakdown of bro, I did not figure this shit out quick, okay, at all. It has taken me a very, 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 very long time. It has taken me a very long time, okay? What felt like a very long time. And like I said in another video, time's gonna pass anyways, bro. 5 years from now, I'm gonna be 24 years old. That's still young as fuck, but 5 years from now, trading every single day is an absurd amount of fucking market experience and market time. So, the time's gonna pass anyways. Do the work now, and in a couple years, you'll be surprised how far you are. Take the lessons God is giving you and learn from them, bro, as much as you can. Okay? And when God is on your side, bro, and you're taking his lessons every single day, and you're putting in your work, and you're showing God the beauty of his creation, bro, he gave you this body, and if you're using it every single day to make sure you're in shape, make sure you're healthy, and using it to fucking do a lot of work and get shit done, and you know, do things and enjoy God's creation, bro, that's all he wants. That's all he wants for us, bro. It's genuinely all he wants. He hates sloth and laziness, bro, so don't do that. Don't be sitting around thinking that all this shit's just gonna work out randomly, okay? It's not. So that is my journey. We're still improving, like, obviously, and I will still keep uploading all these videos and giving you guys constant updates, but that's it. That's my full journey breakdown, guys, from when I was younger to now where I'm at 19. I don't have everything figured out by all means, but we're still improving, you know? And that's all I can give you guys is please get another source of income outside of trading, and understand that trading will take a long time. Like, take it from me, it's not going to work out in a year, bro. It's just not, okay? Like, I've been trading for a long time, so understand that, okay? But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video, boys. If you enjoy this, let me know. Comment, bro. If you want more videos like this, let me know. And I will see you guys on the next one. If you guys are interested in learning how, you know, I've started finding consistency, I'll link that below. If you guys want to talk to me on Instagram or anything like that, I'll link my link tree below. All of that stuff will be linked below in the description. But that's pretty much it for this video, boys, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.